Good morning. Hope you guys had a great weekend. How's everybody today? Um, Getting ready for another week here, I guess. I don't know a whole lot, or I guess I don't know exactly what I've got going on today. I do want to clean the cab out on this tractor. I need to power wash, but I'm waiting on our power washer motor for that power washer that's sitting over there. If you guys remember back here, it's been over a week ago now, that motor went bad. We took it down to a electric motor repair shop. I have not heard from them yet. They told me it'd be a week. It's been over a week, so I'm hoping maybe they'll call me today and we can get that put back together. But while I'm waiting for that, we can clean the inside of the cab out, floors and windows and that kind of stuff. So I think we'll do that today, and we'll kind of walk around the tractor, see what else we can do, I guess. We might have to find another project to work on in the meantime. You guys ever get sidetracked when you're doing something? So I'm getting ready to clean that cab out on that tractor in the shop, right? And I got up in there and realized, oh, there's a 2630 display in here. I should probably get the data off of that. So I came into the office here to get a USB drive to go and download the data off of it. And then I got to looking at my pile of USB drives and thinking, I wonder what's on all of these. So I stuck them in the computer and started going through old pictures and documents and stuff that's irrelevant. A lot of them were old files and data from 2630 from 2017 and 18 and old stuff that I don't need. Well, anyway, now look what I got. This is the nice line of USB sticks that I have that are all formatted and completely empty now because the data that was on them was irrelevant. And here is my micro SD cards that are also empty and ready to go, clean, which is awesome. And I've got two old regular SD cards that those actually have some stuff on it that I wanted to keep. So anyway, point is, now I've got all these nice empty ones and I can take one of them and go get the data off of that display. And that probably only took me like an hour wasted sidetrack time. Good thing I'm not in a big hurry today. All right, we're getting data transferred there. This floor is dirty, but I got most of the stuff picked out of the cab. Doesn't look too bad. This won't take too long. All right, I got my data transferred off onto this USB. I'm also going to go ahead and remove all the data off this display since I've got everything off of it. And remember this little bubble that we've got going on around the top here? It's something in the LCD screen. John Deere has a reman program or repair program or something with that. So I think I'm going to run that up to the dealer and have them send it in and get that fixed. I got another part up there I got to get anyway for this tractor. So that other part that I said I got to get at the dealer, you know what happens when you fuel up tractors at midnight in the middle of harvest and you're tired and you forget things? You forget to put fuel caps back on. And then they get wrapped in duct tape. Keep the dirt out. My bad. So anyway, they've got one, the dealer. I got to go get that too, which is why I'm going to take this display and I want to have that on there before I power wash just so we don't get water in the fuel tanks, right? So yeah, I'll get that taken care of. What are you going to do? This tractor is a little bit more difficult to shop vac because the cab sits up so much higher. So I might have to find a longer hose, but we'll try this setup for now. Okay. Now we gotta wipe stuff down. Armrest, the steering console, all that stuff, and then the floor, windows, and we're good to go. I came up to our John Deere dealer here, got some lunch and get our fuel cap for that tractor, so I got that. While I was here, I decided to go out and check out our combine because they got that up here in the shop. If you've watched my combine videos, you know that we had a oil leak, or well, we were getting oil in our antifreeze, so there was a PIP for head gasket replacement and stuff. They're working on that right now. Here's what our combine looks like at the moment, though. Looks expensive, doesn't it? Yeah, that was what my thought was too. But fortunately, John Deere is paying for most of it. We are going to have the head go to a machine shop and get that looked at before they put it back together since it's apart, and we can save a lot of the labor of taking stuff apart at least. Hopefully everything checks out all right. It goes back together well, and it fixes the problem, and we don't have any more issues. So I'm going to get my new fuel cap installed here. It would appear that diesel fuel makes duct tape goo sticky. So this is getting fun here, getting all over my fingers. I guess I meant slippery. I don't know. Look at this stuff. It's just, yeah. I can't grab it and pull, but it's stuck to the plastic really good. So then my fingers get all slippery. I don't know. I'll get it off. All right. Well, I got that all off and cleaned up. That duct tape goo was sticky. Took a little brake clean and a little wire brushing and patience to get it all off of there, but we're good. I'll get the new cap out and we'll get it put on there. This chain here is supposed to hold the fuel cap in place. Clearly it broke when I lost the old one, and I don't have the right end or the screw or whatever fits in there, but I just took a piece of wire and tied it in there. It should be fine. As long as you remember to put it back on, it'll hold it there while you're fueling. But when you turn and that tire catches it, that isn't going to last either, so that's okay. It works. We're good. I'll take the blame for losing that fuel cap because it was my fault, but Dad put the duct tape on there. Should have at least wrapped it in a plastic bag or something first to keep the fuel out of the duct tape, but oh well, it's all cleaned up and done now. Anyway, I am finishing up in the cab. I've got the side console, or all the controls and everything, steering column all wiped down. I did most of the floor pretty good. I decided I'm going to wait to wash the windows just because sometimes when I power wash, especially the back window, a little bit of water will get past the seal or something, and I'd have to do it again anyway. So I'm going to go ahead and wait on the windows until after we're done, at least power washing on the outside, and then we'll finish that up some other day. While I'm waiting for that power washer, if they don't call me today, I'm going to call them tomorrow and just check on that thing because it was supposed to be done on Friday, I thought. Anyway, I'm going to go work on the computer a little bit. I need to start building prescription maps for all of our corn seeding stuff here this spring. I got a few things I got to do before I get to that, so I'm going to work on some of those things today, mostly assigning varieties to fields. And I'll kind of show you this process here as I go through it on the computer a little bit. Okay guys, working on some of my spreadsheet stuff here. Kind of wanted to take you through my process and how all this works. Let me know if you guys like when I show you kind of what I'm doing on the computer here. I know it's a little different than the shop work and stuff, but it's just as much a part of what I do in the winter as working on the equipment is. And that was kind of the whole point of this channel to start with here when I started making these videos, was to show you what I do on a day-to-day basis. And a lot of it in the winter, or off season here, I guess, is spent doing this planning and computer type of stuff. And I know it's not the most exciting, but if I can at least show you the process, kind of, you know, you're not staring over my shoulder for 3 hours, but at least know what I'm doing. So with that, here's what we're doing. So I've kind of showed you some of this spreadsheet before. This is the same one where I've got our chemical cost stuff on here. This sheet here is basically, it's a list of all of our fields, and at the moment I'm only showing the corn fields, right? So I've got a filter on here. Crop is just the corn. I can click on this and it will allow me to select soybeans or wheat, but I want to do corn. This is all of our fields. I've blanked out the farm names because we have some landlord names in there that you guys don't need to see, but it's got the acres that are in the field, the crop that it's going to, obviously this one's corn, our planting rate, which this number will change slightly based on my prescription maps, but 32,000 is kind of our standard mid-base rate. Some of them will be higher than that, some of them will be lower than that, but just to start figuring, that's where I start with. And then this column here, basically it calculates out the number of units that I would need. So it's reading that, okay, it's going to corn, we're going to plant at 32,000. It knows there's 80,000 kernels in a bag, so I need 33.6 units to plant 84.1 acres. If this number changes, say that field gets planted at 33,500, okay, now I need 35.2 units. Beside the point. But basically what I need to do now is decide what varieties I'm going to plant where. So I have another sheet in here called hybrids and varieties. And this has a list of all of our soybean varieties and all of our corn hybrids that we are going to plant this year. So up here I've got soybeans, down here I've got corn, and then how many units of each of those. And then this variety 1 and 2 column, this is basically how many units I've placed in the other spreadsheet. I'll show you that in a second. Here it tells me how many units I've used total, how many that I have left to use in this column over here. So we'll go back to my crop plan sheet here. And let's say on this first field, I want to put in that first variety. I got my dual monitor set up here. So I've got that same spreadsheet opened over here. It'll update as I go. This first one, we're just going to put one in there for right now. Let's say I want to put in variety. It's G00H12 5122. So that's the variety. It's 100-day corn. H12, H12 is the variety. This 5122 is the trait package. That means it's an Agrisure Duracade. That's a Syngenta trait, kind of their nomenclature on that. Then I hit the tab button and say I need 35 units in there. So I'm going to put in, we'll round up and say I want to use 36. Okay. So now if we come over here and look at my corn hybrid list sheet, you'll see that variety in the first line. I had 40 units of it to use. I've now used 36 of them. It showed up there. I have 4 units left. Okay. So I can go through and fill all of this sheet out with what hybrid is going where. And then this one over here will kind of calculate out how much of each hybrid I've got left. And it gets a little tricky trying to place hybrids so you don't have a bunch of partials and stuff. Like I really don't want that 4 bags left over, so I probably won't put that hybrid there, or maybe I'll only do, say, 24 units of it there, and then I'll fill in whatever remaining I would need with something else. So basically the way that I go about this is, I know my hybrids pretty well, so I know which ones go on which type of dirt. I also know my fields, so I can place them pretty well that way. But I kind of start with the fields where I know exactly what I want to put. Like, for example, this field right here, it's 174 acres. This is the field that we have the ability to irrigate. And so I'm going to put my full season, best potential yielding corn in an irrigation system, I guess, in that field. So in this instance, I know that that is G12W66, and the version I have is a 3220. I have 40 units of that. Actually, I think I've got 38. I couldn't quite get 40. So that's going to be part of it. So now this column here tells me, well, I still need another 31 to finish that field. So we're going to go with G09A86-3330, and I'm going to use 32 of them. So then I'm basically I'm a half a bag over, which is okay. And it'll be almost half and half between the 112 day and the 109 day in that field. We'll look over here, and there's our 32. So I have 48 units of those left because I started with 80. Here's my 38 on the 112 day, and I have 0 units of that left. So it will all be planted in that field. So that's kind of my process for placing hybrids and stuff. Now, caveat to this is all under assuming best case scenario, right? So assuming that we have time and we get stuff planted timely, meaning in April or first half of May, and I'm willing to plant that 112-day corn and everything goes according to plan. Last year, when it became June, before we planted any corn, this whole document went right out the window. I basically threw it away, and I got new hybrids that were all earlier maturing and stuff, and I planted what I had when I got it as best I could, but you just do it at that point. So I don't plan to fail, though, and I shouldn't say fail. I don't plan for that to happen. I want to prepare to have the best possible outcome as possible, and this is how I figured out how to do that, putting the right hybrid in the right place. And because I do this, I grow them myself, and I have this experience, I feel like that's what makes me more qualified to be a seed salesman and to help recommend them to other people, because I know the hybrids. I can help you place them as best as possible. So anyway, that's what I'm going to work on here for quite a while this afternoon. This will take me a little while. If there's anything else interesting pops up, I will capture that for you here. But yeah, I just kind of sit here and place hybrids. So that's what I'm working on. Okay, here's another one that's kind of interesting or something to point out, I guess. So these 3 fields here, they're all going to be the same variety, and the reason is because these are all part of the same farm. So we have a numbering system that we use. You'll see the 21 or this 5, 6. Those are all different farms, basically. Maybe a landlord owns all of them or something like that. They're generally all in the same place, and we farm them all the same way. And then, so these would be individual fields, field 7, 8, and 9. Well, these 3 are all basically one 80-acre farm that's got a ditch that splits it into 3 different fields. So those are all going to get the same variety. I'm going to plant them all at the same time. I don't necessarily need to split them all out. So what I do is add up, okay, I need 19.3 plus 2.5 plus 8.1. That's like 30 units. Basically, it was 29.9. So I've got 30 units of that variety that's going to go there. All right, I've been working on this for a while. I've got all of my units used up, and I've got most everything assigned where I want it. I am a few bags short yet on our seed order. I kind of do that intentionally because, one, I've got a few bags down in the barn that I don't have accounted for in this sheet and that are left over from last year. And then I've got some plots that we're going to put in. So a couple of those fields won't need as many units as it says because we'll have a plot there. And also, a lot of times Golden Harvest will come out with some new seed varieties late in the season, and they'll want us to get a few bags out there to try them. So I kind of try and leave room for that. But so for the most part, everything is in here and we are ready to go. I've got a few fields that have 2 different varieties in them, so I can do some side-by-sides. And this is all subject to change. In fact, I guarantee it will change, but it's at least a start. I got to go through and do this for the soybeans as well. But I wanted to get the corn done first because I need to know what varieties I'm planning on putting in a field before I make my prescription maps up. And I'll go through that again later, but that's important. So now I've at least got a pretty good idea what's going to go where, and we can move forward with making our variety or our population maps. Okay, well, that's going to be all for today's video. I am going to head home here pretty quick. It's almost 5 o'clock, so tomorrow I'm going to call about that power washer motor. I really hope they're done with it. I hate to bug them by calling and stuff, but it's been long enough that it's time to figure out what's going on with that, and hopefully we can get that back and get it installed, and then I can start washing on that tractor because I really want to keep that project moving. Wednesday afternoon I'm going to be gone, so I'm going to lose a little bit of time there, and then Thursday I've got a meeting about seed treatment stuff, so I'm also going to lose some time there. Plan for tomorrow, we'll see. Depends on that power washer motor a little bit. If I can't work on that tractor, I'm going to keep working on spreadsheets and that kind of stuff, or prescription maps, and I'll show you that process. But I'm sure we can find something interesting to do. So with that, I hope you guys have a good night, and we will see you tomorrow, most likely. Hit the like and subscribe buttons down below if you have not already, and we will see you tomorrow. Have a good night.